Okay, so in this class, and go ahead and mute yourself if you haven't muted already. If you would like to use any props for the movement today, props can be helpful often. I have some blankets here. I used to have a yoga studio prior to COVID. I closed it down when COVID came on the scene. So I have a ton of extra props. You may not have Mexican blankets like I do, which is fine, but you can grab any blankets from your house, like, you know, a comforter or an Afghan off your bed, or, you know, pillows, anything, grab anything. Just make sure everybody's muted. So feel free to use props as you want to throughout, and I'll kind of guide you along the way, but it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It really could be as simple as you just take a beach towel and shove it under your leg, right? Whatever is most comfortable for you is the absolute key. Also, because I can't see most of you and we don't know each other, we don't have a history, I don't know what's going on in your bodies outside of you probably have Lyme disease. So if there's any movement that I'm suggesting, like leading us into, if your body's like, oh, I don't like that, please ignore me and don't do it. I don't ever want you to feel pain. Sometimes stretching can feel uncomfortable, but pain is a whole different dynamic. So pain is out always, okay? And you know, also, if I'm giving modifications, but your doctor's told you don't do this certain thing, you're going to listen to your doctor for sure as well. All right. Okay. So we'll go ahead and begin. And then at the end, when we're all done, I'll open it up for Q&As. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. If I can, if I have an answer, I will give it to you. And if I don't have an answer, I have lots of doctor friends, so I can get your contact info and get some info your way. So we'll go ahead and start. So sit comfortably, please. That's going to look different for all of us. If you have a knee issue, let's say, you can extend a leg. You can even put like a towel or whatever under your knee, can be a nice support. You can sit on the blanket, you know, to prop yourself up more. So whatever feels good for you, do that. Okay, just making sure everybody's muted. So when you found your comfy spot, just let your hands rest wherever, however, and then close your eyes. Let your shoulders relax down. And keeping your lips gently together, start to slow your breathing down. Now notice I didn't say to deepen your breath. This is different. There's no force, there's no effort to this. Your breath is just long, stretched out, a little slower than it usually is. Allow the air to pass in and out gently through your nostrils. And then take your awareness to your pelvis. Think of your pelvis as like a bowl, and a bowl that's sitting on a table, not a bowl that's pouring backwards or tipping forward. Try to get your hips as neutral as possible. And then imagine you're like a puppet being pulled by its strings, and the strings are attached to the tops of your ears. Lengthen up through the tops of your ears, keeping your shoulders soft. And now that you've created space through your body, take a moment to check in. Notice any places that might be feeling a little cranky, a little tender. Any places that might need to be checked in with often. And as you've noticed places, if there are any, try to not be frustrated or irritated by the fact that you have places like that to be mindful of. It is what it is. And we just keep checking back in to make sure that we're continuing to do good for ourselves. So as you sit up a little taller, keeping your shoulders relaxed, take 5 more breaths here, just like this. Slowing your breath down a little bit more. Now take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale it out. Staying as you are, drop your chin a little bit down towards your chest. Now, as we're here, imagine that you have an invisible grapefruit and that's being held between your chin and your chest. So we're not trying to tuck the chin really far down. It's just softly dropped. Sit up a little taller out of the low back. And as you're here, help push your shoulders down a little bit. You'll feel that creating a bit more of a stretch through your neck muscles. That's one of my biggest problem areas is my upper neck and upper back. Staying like this, soften the shoulders. Inhale, lift your face up to the sky. Now, as you're here, try to not fling your head far back. You can think of your neck as really lengthening up like you're a giraffe and you're trying to get that topmost leaf from a tree. So you're really lengthening here. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, lower your chin back down a little closer to your chest. Inhale, lift your face up towards the sky. Keep your neck long. Exhale, lower your chin back down a little closer to your chest. And then bring your head up to neutral. Have your arms come down by your sides if they're not already there. Staying like this, drop your chin a tiny little bit and start to circle your shoulders around. So these can be little circles, they can be big, it's up to you. The more you involve other parts of your back, for example, your shoulder blades, that changes the sensation. So do what you need to do to feel good in your body here. And if you have any shoulder issues at all, listen to your body. Now let's circle the other way. This whole time, and like throughout your life, but speaking of just this class, I really want you to listen to what your body's saying. So if you need to do something entirely different than what I've cued to do that, please. Now come back to stillness. Inhale, open your arms out wide, take them up high. And exhale, open your arms out and lower them down by your sides. Inhale, open your arms out wide, reach them up high. Exhale, open out and lower down. Keep doing this a few more times. Sinking your breath, inhaling as you lift, exhale, lower. Now, if you have shoulder issues, you can take your arms more forward. You can bend your elbows. You can take them up not as high. It's your call. We're trying to bring movement into the whole body slowly, but not every movement's going to be appropriate for every person. The next time your arms are up, keep them there and bring your palms together and lower your hands down to your heart center. Pausing here, press the base of your thumbs into the middle of your chest and sit up tall. Lengthen more, inhale, and exhale, twist to the right and then lower your hands down. Your right hand will come behind you onto the floor, left hand to the right knee. And then just close your eyes. Try to be pretty upright through your spine. And don't feel like you need to force this to be a deep old twist. Just meet your body where you're at right now. Keep your shoulders soft. Let your right shoulder roll back a bit. My right hand, I stay on the pads of my fingers, and my right hand is closer to my hip. That makes it, even though I could put my palm down, it makes it so that my spine stays upright because we're trying to not lean back. Keep your shoulders soft. And just notice how your body's responding here, pausing in this twist. When we move quickly, we tend to kind of overlook the signals that our body's giving. So I like to hang out in a position for a bit and let the body kind of have a discussion that I can listen to. Sitting up a little taller, inhale. Activate the core and exhale, untwist, come back to center. Let your hands rest on your knees and just pause here, close your eyes. Keep sitting up tall and just check in. Take a big breath in through your nose. Through your mouth, exhale it out. Blinking, open your eyes. Take your arms down by your sides again. And sitting up tall, inhale, open your arms out wide, bring them up high. Palms together, exhale, hands down to the heart. Keep your hands here, sit up taller, inhale. Exhale, twist to the left this time and lower your hands down. Left hand behind you, right hand to your left knee. Now we all have different lengths of body parts, your torso, your arms, as is applicable right now. So if you have longer torso, shorter arms, you may not even be able to get your fingertips on the floor. That's fine. Throw them on a pillow or a yoga block or a blanket or a puppy. Keep sitting tall, shoulders are soft. Right shoulder sinks down, left shoulder rolls back. Just close your eyes. Throughout this class, you'll hear me cue to activate your core or engage your core. And the core is going to include the front abdominal muscles, your side rib cage muscles, and your low back muscles. So everything just gently comes in. You're not squeezing to put on a pair of silly, skinny jeans, but no offense to skinny jean wearers. But it's not sucking it in epically. It's just a gentle activation. So let's do that now. Sitting taller, inhale, activate the core. So pull it in slowly and then take your time, untwist, come back to center. Hands rest onto your knees, close your eyes. Just check in with your body here. Notice how the muscles at the back of the body feel. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale it out. Blinking, open your eyes. Change the crossing of your legs if your legs are crossed. So we do that to try to be as symmetrical as possible. And that being said, if your body's like, nope, this side hurts, then just go back to the other way. From here, take your hands to the ground in front of you, spread your fingers wide. Lift out of the lower back, inhale. And exhale, keep your back flat, walk your hands forward. Come into a fold, but don't try to be an epic fold. Let your back stay flat. Think of your chest as pushing forward. Your chin drops a little bit. And then take a sec to look at your hands. I'd like them to be in line with your shoulders. Press in towards your thumbs. And now just let your back gently round, softening here. Your elbows can bend a little bit more. Maybe your elbows get to the ground, maybe they're nowhere near, in which case use a whole bunch of blankets or whatever, Amazon boxes, it doesn't matter. Anything to have your body feel supported is fantastic. Your chin is dropped a little bit, but not epically so. I'd like you to think of me having my hand at the back of your head, and you're pushing your head into my invisible hand. So that fires up the neck muscles and the upper back muscles, which tend to get really weak. Staying low, walk your hands over towards the right. Now, if you're using props, you can take them with you or not. But here, your chest is going to spin towards your right thigh. Try keeping your back flat. So if you're really folding and rounded, lift your chest a little bit. Elbows are bent. Left hip reaches down. And just breathe here. Keep pushing your head back into my invisible hand. Feel the stretching through the left side of the body. Now, engaging your core a little bit, walk your hands through center. Pause here for a moment. And now let's go over to the left. So same thing, your chest spins towards your left thigh. Shoulders are soft, elbows gently bent. Your chin is lowered a little bit, but then you're still pushing your head back into my invisible hand. Just breathe here. Reaching down with the right hip. Feel the stretching there on the right side of the body. Notice if you're holding your breath. Now, engaging your core, walk your hands forward to center. Pause for a moment. And then flattening the back out, step your hands forward more, straighten the arms a bit more. You're still going to have a tiny little bend in them, but as your hands are forward, let your chest push towards your thumbs. So you're technically in a back bend here. Your back's going to feel like it's pretty arched. Your rib cage is thrusting forward, shoulders pull back. Activate the core and keeping your back this flat, walk your hands towards you, sit upright. And then bring your hands onto your knees. And just pause, close your eyes. Check in again. Notice how your body feels. Check in with those places that are sensitive, that need attention. How are they? Don't overlook the messages. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. Sitting up taller, inhale. Exhale, circle around. So keeping your hands on the knees, go to the side, far forward, over to the other side. I don't really go back because it hurts my back, but just keep doing a circle to whatever depth feels good for you. Your chin is dropped a little bit. I like to make these, it's more like a semicircle really, but I like to make it pretty wide and slow. Again, giving my body more information, and it feels really good in my hips and inner thighs and low back. Keep going this way, but add the shoulders. So they're going to kind of lead the way around, big exaggerated movements. And remember to breathe. Now let's switch directions, circle the other way. Start without the shoulders, keeping your chin dropped a little bit. If your chin is going forward, then you're crunching through the back of the neck. So we're trying to not tighten those muscles, the back neck muscles, any more than they already get tightened. Keep going this way, but add the shoulders now. Syncing your breath with your movements. Exhaling as you fold forward, inhaling as you come up. Go around one more time, and then we'll come back upright. And then once you're up, just pause, close your eyes, take another moment to check in. Scan all the places. Without judgment, just checking in. Take a big breath in through your nose, through your mouth, side out. Blinking open your eyes, take your arms down by your sides. And then let the right palm touch the ground. Again, if it can't get there, put it on something, that's totally fine. Your left arm is really just hanging really close to your left rib cage. Slide your right arm out a little bit away from you. Don't go too far. Think of your torso as being really diagonal. So you're like an arm of a clock. And then take your gaze down to your right hand. Press in towards your right thumb, and then bend your right elbow a little. Now just stay here. The tendency, two things really. The left shoulder is going to want to round forward, so don't let it. Keep it opening back. And then also your rib cage is going to start to push forward. So keep your front rib cage pulling back a little bit, not to round, but just to stay super neutral. Pressing into your right thumb, inhale, straighten your right elbow a little, and then exhale, bend your right elbow a bit. Inhale as you straighten your right arm. Exhale and bend it a little bit. Inhale, lift up a little. Exhale and bend. Now we're going to hang out here for a couple breaths. You can stay just like this. Or if you want to take it deeper, try taking your left arm open and bring it up, and then just cross it over to the right. Stay long and diagonal here though. And if your left shoulder is bugging you, you can totally just bring it back down, or even put your left palm at the low back and roll your shoulder back. You can have your left elbow bent, put your hand on your head. It definitely doesn't matter. The place that I want you to focus on is lengthening out of the hips and feeling your core activate a little bit here. Using the core, inhale, sit all the way up. And then as you exhale, just lower the left arm down if it were raised up. And then just pause, close your eyes. Feel the difference from the right side to the left of your body. Take a big breath in through your nose. Through your mouth, let it go. Blinking open your eyes. Let's do the same thing other side. So plant your left palm down and slide it out a bit away from you. Don't go too far. Keep your right shoulder rolling back. Rib cage pulls in. Your whole torso is still long, just really diagonal there. Then pressing into the left thumb, take your gaze down there and bend your left elbow a bit. Your neck stays long. If you don't love looking down at your left hand, you can bring your gaze wherever. You can look up or wherever, it doesn't matter. But I want you to avoid having your head hanging. So keep your neck active still. Pulling the ribs in. Continue to press into your thumb. Inhale, straighten your left elbow a little. And then exhale, bend your left elbow a bit. Inhale as you lift up a little. Exhale and bend the elbow. Inhale, lift up slightly. Exhale and bend. And now pausing here. Keep the ribs in. Neck is long. Shoulders are soft. Your right arm can stay hanging next to you, or if you want, take it out to the side, bring it up and cross it over to the left. Shoulders remain soft. Neck stays nice and long. Again, you can look wherever. There are different reasons to have your gaze in different positions, but for our purposes, it's all about comfort. Notice if you start to push your chest forward. I tend to do that. So I'm constantly pulling my ribs in and then re-engaging my core to stabilize. So check in with your body here. Stay long out of the hips and then really using the core. Inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, lower your right arm down. Pausing here, drop your chin a little bit. And inhale, lift your face up to the sky. And then exhale, lower your chin back down closer to your chest. And now bring your head up to neutral. Take your hands to the knees and carefully uncross your legs. Bring the knees up, soles of the feet to the floor. Your legs can be apart or together. It doesn't matter. Then just give yourself a squeeze here. And if your knees hate having your arms wrapped around, you can put your arms underneath your legs like that instead. So again, modify for your body. Sitting tall, let your shoulders soften and just rock a little side to side if that feels good. Sometimes it doesn't for me, so don't feel like you have to. Most of the time that feels pretty decent on my low back. I suspect it's the same for you. All right, coming back to stillness. Let go of your legs and just take your knees open, bringing the soles of your feet together in front of you. Now here's the thing, the closer your heels are to your body, the more challenging it is. So definitely feel free to take your legs forward. You can even take them apart and just hold on to kind of by your shins or your knees. So it's up to you. If you can, have your feet together, hands come to the ankles, but doesn't have to look pretty, just has to feel good, okay? So sitting up tall, inhale, and exhale, lean back, let your spine round a little bit. Shoulders roll forward, drop your chin a tiny bit. Now, as we're here, we're letting gravity do the work. We're not forcing the pushback with the spine. There's a huge difference there. So let it be really passive. For me, my end point is when my arms kind of just stop me from going further back. So your arms are on the straighter side, but the elbows are definitely not locked out. Staying like this for a couple more breaths. Try to let your legs become a little heavier. Sometimes this can feel intense on the hip flexors. So those muscles that are right at the crease of your hips where your legs attach to your torso. Staying like this, if you want, you can rock side to side. Again, sometimes it feels good, sometimes not as much. So if you don't like the rocking movement, just be still. All right, coming back to stillness. Engaging your core, that's key for most of the times, the transitions. So feeling your whole midsection activate, slowly lift yourself up and then soften your shoulders. Take your hands to the outsides of the knees, bring your knees up and then straighten your legs out in front of you. Take your hands back behind you and I'll scooch back a little bit. Give your legs a shake here. It can be really passive shaking. It can be more vigorous, whatever feels good to you. And then come back to stillness. Bend your knees in again. Now we're going to lay on down. So before you get down, one thing, if your body's going to feel more comfortable having your head on some sort of support, don't use too thick of a blanket or a pillow. Let it be pretty thin, because we're trying to avoid the neck from pushing up or from tucking under. All right. So when you're ready, lay on down. So again, you'll use your core to help yourself transition from up to down. So keep the core active. And laying down, once you get on your back, bring your knees into your chest and just pause. Again, your hands can come back behind your knees if that feels better. If you want to use something under your head, again, that's fine, but just have it be pretty thin. And if you want to, now you can rock side to side if that feels good. We're not going too far to one side or the other. It's more just kind of like a mild back massage, but also for me, it's an assessment place because I know if my body hurts a lot just doing this, I have to be really mindful of my movements more so than usual. Okay, discontinuing that rocking motion, use your core, let go of your legs, and take the soles of the feet down to the floor. Let your arms open out wide, your palms face up. And then heel toe your feet out far apart. If you're on a yoga mat or a Pilates mat, they'll still be on the mat, but really to the edges. If you're not on a mat, your feet and knees are going to be quite far apart, not as far as they'll go, but nearly. Sing like this. Keep your nose pointing straight up. Inhale. And then exhale, lower your legs down to the right. Now, as we pause here for a second, my left leg is nowhere near the ground. My right leg is closer to it. You might eventually get all the way down, but maybe not. Using the core, inhale, come back up. Exhale, go down to the left. Pause here again for a second. Try to soften your upper body. Use the core, inhale back up. Exhale over to the right. Inhale as you lift up. Exhale to the left. Keep doing this now side to side. If you're going to only do one movement every day, if this one feels okay for your body, do this one. It hits a lot of muscle groups, and it's pretty mild. Definitely low impact, but highly impactful. Stretches out. You can feel it through the front of your hips, your low back, your inner thighs, the tops of the thighs. It lubricates the knees a little bit, the ankles, opens your chest. You can even do this in bed before you get out of bed. I stretch. I don't know about you, but consider stretching in the mornings before you even get out of bed. It's changing my life experience. It's nothing like massive. It's not even stuff that we've been doing now, but it's just getting a little bit of stretching in. Doing this in bed, you might get a little tangled in the blankets, but whatever. Okay, do one more to the left, please. And then bring your legs back up to center. And now heel toe your feet closer together. Let them rest hip socket distance apart. And then step your heels closer to your body. Keep your nose pointing upwards and pushing into your feet. Activate your glutes, so your buttocks muscles. So engage them, not epically, not like buns of steel, tight, 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 but they're active. And then keeping your nose pointing straight up, lift your hips a little bit. Have your knees feel like they're kind of shooting forward. So we want the inner thighs to engage a bit to keep the knees from splaying. And then just lower the hips back down. Keeping your legs in this position, activate your core and feel your rib cage pushing down a bit closer to the ground. Lift your right foot up and place your right ankle on your left knee. Pull back through your right toes. So we're coming into a figure 4 position here. This is the starting point. This is another one of those stretches that feel fantastic, but not always. Sometimes there's pretty good modifications needed. So if your body's happy here, or if this is kind of the place where your body's like, I don't want to go any further, then just hang out right here. If going deeper is appropriate, you can use your core and lift your left foot up and then take your hands to your knees. Now, if your hands can't come to your legs and both knees are bent, but if your hands can't come to your legs, you can absolutely wrap something around your legs. If you have a yoga strap, if you have a bathrobe strap, a sash, you can use a necktie, you can use a beach towel. So a lot of times things around the legs can help. So here again, If you're happy like this, stay here, or if you want, you can rock side to side. If you start to rock and your body doesn't love it, then just stop. And notice if you're holding your breath. If you're rocking, come back to stillness. Using your core, let go of the legs and return the sole of the left foot down to the floor if it's not already there. Open your arms out wide, palms are facing up. And then keeping your right leg on top, just slide your legs together. So the right leg is still on top, but now your thighs are together, knees are stacked. And from here, rock your hips a little bit side to side. This is intended to be more of a low back massage and less of a hip stretch. So if you're feeling it kind of pulling at the front hip muscle area, shorten the movements just a little bit. Coming back to stillness. Engage your core, press down through your rib cage and uncross your legs. Let your feet and your knees be hip socket distance apart, and then step the heels closer to your body again. Now you can keep your arms open, or if you want, extend them back behind you. They can be back, straight back, or if that doesn't work for you, you can open them out and bend the elbows. So you pick the snow angel position, right? Find the best place for you, but keep your nose pointing straight up. Pressing into your feet, engage your glutes again a little bit and lift the hips up here. Same position. Do a tiny little tuck of your tailbone. That frees up the low back more. It makes it so the bones aren't compressing. But your buttocks muscle activation is pretty key in this because it makes it so the back muscles aren't doing all the work. And now just lower your hips back down. Engaging your core, bring your knees into your belly, and wherever your arms are, just take your hands to your knees again. Draw them in close. And rock a little side to side. Coming back to stillness, use your core, open your arms out wide and take the soles of your feet down to the floor again. Feet and knees are hip socket distance apart. And then using the core, see how many times I say that? That's how vital it is. Lift your left foot up and place your left ankle on your right knee. Pull back through your left toes. And just pause here for a couple breaths in the figure four starting position. Close your eyes. Check in here and see if your hips are a little bit wonky. Sometimes one of the hips might hitch up a little bit. So try to get your hip bones in line with each other. And then using the core, if you want, you can stay here or lift the right foot up and bring your legs in. Hands come to the legs again, or use a strap of any type. Keep your hip bones in line with each other here. And just notice if you're putting more weight into the right side of the back of the body or the left, and try to keep it even. Notice if you're holding your breath. This side might feel completely different. That happens often just by the way we sit, or if you have an injury on one side, often the other side of the body overcompensates. So then that creates tight muscles. So there's all sorts of reasons why we can have different sensations in the body. You can stay still, or if you want, try rocking side to side here. And remember, let's say you rocked on the other side, but this side doesn't feel good. You don't have to rock to keep yourself symmetrical. We go for symmetry, but discomfort is like the key. So we want to make sure we listen to that. Discomfort really wins out in that discussion. We just want to make sure that you don't try to keep yourself symmetrical and then cause a bigger problem. If you're moving, come back to stillness. And then using your core, open your arms out wide and lower your right foot down if it's not already there. Keep your legs like this in the figure four starting point for a moment and just close your eyes. And now with that left leg remaining on top, just slide your legs together. So your thighs are together, your knees are stacked. And then from here, just sway your legs side to side, massaging your low back again. Remember, don't go so far that you're feeling the pulling at the front of the hips. Let it be all about the low back. Coming back to stillness. Use your core, uncross your legs. Keeping your core active, bring your knees into your belly. Wrap your arms around your legs and just pause. Keeping your core lightly engaged, open your arms out wide, and this time take your feet up towards the ceiling. You can have as much of a bend in your knees as you need. Don't try to push anything. And notice if you're starting to arch your back, keep the ribs glued down to the floor. From here, point your toes straight up. Feel the stretching through the tops of the feet. Don't overpoint to where you're cramping up through the bottoms of your feet. Ease off if that's the case. And now change it to pressing your heels up. So you're stretching through the calves. Press down through the rib cage and point your toes up again. And then just keep doing this, pointing and flexing through your feet a couple times. As you're doing that, remind your upper body to stay soft. Tight calf muscles can create big problems through our bodies too. So doing this kind of an action is really beneficial. All right, come back to stillness. And then using your core, bend the knees into your belly. Keep your arms open. And then using your core, roll over onto the right side. We're going to come into a fetal position. You can use your right arm as a pillow for your head, or you can grab an actual pillow or blanket if you want. We want the head to kind of stay in line with the spine is the point here. If your right arm is cranky, being bent, you can extend it. And then just let your left arm be in front of your heart center. And think of your hips as stacking and your knees stacking and the rib cage stacking. In this case, the left rib cage is stacked over the right. Now, obviously, your legs might be different lengths, in which case we're not trying to force anything that's, a design feature of your body that is impossible to do. But in theory, if it's possible, stack the things, keep them there. Make sure your neck is just long, so your chin is not dropped and your chin is also not pushing forward. We're going to do a mid and upper back twist here. And what I'd like you to do is focus on the area of your spine that would be where, like, if you were wearing a bra, the bra strap up. Okay, so we're not twisting from bra strap down, not yet. So keeping your left arm extended, remind your right rib cage that it's glued down, and then just take your left arm up towards the ceiling, bend your left elbow and let your left arm open back a little. Now, it's not a very big movement because we're not twisting the whole lower spine. Let your left hip push forward a little bit. And then just make sure your upper neck is happy. Your shoulders are soft. Using the core, slowly untwist, lower your left hand back down to the floor. We're going to do that 2 more times. So slowly take your left arm up, open it back. Remember, we're only rotating through bra strap up portion of the spine. Keep breathing. And use your core, untwist, come back to neutral, left hand on the floor for a moment. We're going to do that 1 more time now. So lift your left arm up, open it back. And this time, if you want to add more of the spine into the rotation, feel free. Get to the place where your body's like, oh, heck yeah. And if there's no part of that and you should just stay in the fetal position, that's totally fine. Keep your left hip gently nudging towards your knees. And then using your core, slowly untwist, lower your left hand back down to the ground. And now we're going to really carefully roll onto our backs again. So use your core and be mindful. If you were using a pillow for your head, get that out of the way to start with, and then just roll over. Reposition yourself as you need to. And then just bring your knees into your chest. Pause here. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice if there's a difference between the right side and the left side of your back. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So roll over onto your left side. I'm going to keep my back to the camera, that way you can see what's happening from a different perspective. Excuse the rear view. So use a pillow if you want, use your arm, whatever's the most comfortable. Neck is an extension of your spine. Hips are stacked if possible, knees are stacked if possible, rib cage is stacked if possible. And then just take your right arm forward. When you're ready, slowly lift your right arm up. Remember, just the bra strap portion now. Rotate through your upper back. Keep your ribs generally pointing forward. Your belly button's pointing forward. Right hip is reaching forward. And then using the core, slowly untwist. Come back to that right hand on the floor in front of your heart center area. 2 more times. Lift your right arm up. Bend your elbow, rotate through just the upper back right now. You can see my right arm is so far away from the ground. That's because we're really just limiting it to high mid back and upper back area. Use the core, slowly untwist. And now we'll do that one more time. Lift your right arm up, open it back. And this time, if you want to involve more of the spine, you can. You can let your rib cage kind of sink backwards a bit. I tend to get pretty tight through my mid back and even my mid abdomen and my upper abdomen. So this helps to open that up a bit. And obviously through the chest and the shoulder too. So if you have shoulder issues, adjust, 100% adjust. Using your core, slowly untwist. Come back to that neutral fetal position. And then mindfully, using your core, carefully roll onto your back. And if you were using a pillow, you can move it out of your way. Pull your knees into your belly once you're on your back. And just pause here. Rock a little side to side. Coming back to stillness. Keep your legs like this, open your arms out wide, your palms facing up. Inhale. Exhale, lower both legs down to the right. We're just going to come into a more traditional twist now. So if your body hates any portion of this, here's some things that can feel better. You can put a blanket underneath your right leg. You could put a blanket or 2 or 20 in between your legs. Try to keep if you're using blankets or pillows or whatever, try to keep your whole lower leg supported. If your left shoulder, in this case, is bothering you, you can lower your left arm down. So it'd be, instead of open out, it could be down more. Find the way that feels so comfortable here that you could fall asleep. So if you're not that comfortable, do whatever you need to do to get that comfortable. And then just close your eyes. Try to keep your knees closer to your right arm. I like to put my right hand on my left knee, but that's just what feels good to me. I should even rephrase that. That's what feels good to me right now. There's always minor tweaks that we can make. Take 5 more breaths here. If your head is turned at all, bring your nose towards the ceiling, and then using your core, slowly untwist. Take your time coming out and just wrap your arms around your legs. Pause here. Remember, you can always have your hands behind your knees. Now let's do the other side. So open your arms out wide, palms facing up. Inhale. And exhale, lower your legs down to the left. Find your comfy twist here on this side. Remember, you can adjust. So if you need to lower your right arm, you can. If you need a whole bunch of blankets or pillows, or if you need to do something entirely different, that's fine too. So find that place where, again, you could fall asleep, and then just close your eyes. Try to soften a bit here. Our muscles can get so programmed to grip. So check in with those places that are chronically tight and see if you can just coax them to relax a little bit. Take 5 more breaths here. If your head is turned, bring your head to neutral. And using your core, slowly untwist. Take your time. Wrap your arms around your legs or any modified position. And then just rock a little side to side. Coming back to stillness. We're going to make our way now into our final relaxation pose. So if it feels good for your body, you can lay flat. One thing I like to do is to take the soles of my feet down and lift my hips a little bit and then lower them back down and then take my legs down. Now, my body doesn't love staying flat like this for very long. So if you're like me, you can put things underneath your knees. Look a little bit prettier than I just tried to throw. Or you can just keep your knees bent. You can't relax if you're not comfortable, right? So take the time to get comfy, and maybe sitting up is more comfortable. Fine. Sitting up against a wall, you can relax a little more. So it doesn't matter how you're positioned, just really be comfortable. In my usual classes, we would stay in this position for nearly 10 minutes. We're not going to do that today, but we're going to be here for quite a bit. So I'll be silent for a little while, but then I will guide us back up to more awareness. So just let yourself relax here. Feel your body releasing. Allow the muscles of your face to soften. Allow the earth to support you completely. Start to slow your breath down a little bit here. Stretching your breath a little longer than it usually is once again. And then allow your breath to move down into your belly. As you inhale, feel the belly button slowly lifting towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, gently float the belly button back down towards the floor. Inhale, lift your belly button gently up. Exhale, lower it back down. Keep breathing like this. If directing your breath down into your belly is challenging, you can always put your hands on your belly to kind of help your skin lift your hands up a bit. Take 5 more breaths here, just like this. Now take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. Bending into your knees if they're not already bent. Carefully bring your knees into your belly once more. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself one final squeeze. And then rock a little side to side. As you're rocking, eventually roll over onto the most comfortable side. You can use your arm as a pillow for your head. And then again, using your core, very carefully make your way back up to seated. Take your time coming up. And then sit comfortably once you're back upright. Place your hands together in front of your heart center once you're upright. And then close your eyes. Come back to your breath. And take a moment to check in. Notice how your body feels now. And thank yourself for taking this time for you today. Thank yourself for putting yourself at the top of your to-do list. Allowing yourself to slow down, to replenish and recharge. To seal our time together today, breathe in deeply one last time through your nose. Through your mouth, let it go. The divine light within me bows to the divine light within you. Namaste. All right, everybody. I'm going to come closer to my screen. So again, if you have any questions, I'll stop the recording and we can talk. Also, if you liked this class and you want more of this type of a thing, come join my Movements for Lymies Facebook group. It's a free group. Just find us Movements, plural, for Lymies, Lymies. And I go live every week, every Monday. Okay, so I am going to stop the recording. There we go.